Clash at the Castle is only a week away, and Smackdown made it their business to make sure you knew all about it. Drew McIntyre told his story. Karrion Kross told Drew his story about Drew. The tag title situation got dealt with, and Gunther and Sheamus gave you something you could not take your eyes off of. So much to talk about and more on the Smack Attack. Money James McIvor alongside my partner in crime, as always, John Enright. How we doing? Yeah, Cardiff's a week away.
Yeah, Cardiff. I mean, let's go Cardiff, But also a week away is your holiday. So,
I'm out. Peace, bitches.
For 2 weeks, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So,
look forward to it.
Yeah. So, we're not going to have James on, which is okay, I guess. I mean, whatever. We'll make it work. Again, like I said, if you want to be on the show, what we might do is, hey, we'll have the vet on, but maybe we'll get one of our chat members on the board. And
I'm feeling ready to come back in 2 weeks, like that scene from Community, where he walks in and the place is on fire. That's what I'm waiting for.
He's walking in with a cake and it's all on fire.
Fuck.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not a grumpy elf.
I'm not. I'm a bit sleepy today, but I'm not that bad. Not that bad.
Hey, no. Nice. The man is coming off working a full day of work to do a podcast, whereas I'm working on I'm on Saturday time, and I don't have to work.
If anything, it should be the other way around.
Yeah. Right now, it's weird because it's still hot, but in the mornings it's cool enough to where we're getting dew on the grass. So of course I intended to mow the grass today, and I can't because it's still 9 fucking o'clock, and it's still wet. And I'm like, I can't mow and bag this. I could have probably not bagged it, but I'm a bagger. It's
the getting it out of the mower though.
Yeah,
I hate that when it's moist and it all just clumps in and clogs up everything. You got to try and clear it out.
Yeah, it just makes it harder to actually mow and get a clean cut. So I'll probably have to go mow after this, because then later today we have free tickets to the Impact tapings here in Dallas. So it's at the factory over in Deep Ellum, which is a cool hit, part of Dallas over there. So so we're gonna drive over there. Me and Jacob are gonna go watch some wrestling tonight, some Impact wrestling. May see our friends Chris Bay and Rich Swan. See if they remember any of us. Surely Rich Swan should. I mean, we fucking gave him a ride to his Airbnb and saved him $80. So
if you go with your book, they'll know right away.
Oh yeah, right. Right? I mean, Jesus. So yeah, and then and of course Chris Bay spent 15 minutes with Jacob talking to him. So who knows? We heard my name. We I would say we heard my name because I saw Vet's thingy. We're gonna have fun. It's Impact Wrestling. It'll be taping. So for the Vet, if you see the tapings and you see Jacob and I, we'll be waving and doing this. So point us out.
He's in the chat. This episode's under scrutiny. Off the jump, ready to go.
Yeah. So honestly, this will be my second Impact tapings that I've been to, because they recorded over WrestleMania weekend, and at the time, Lady Frost was with Impact.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I'm just cashed a check. I'm cashing a check. My face can't cash. Apparently, here we go. I'm on Twitter. Bear with me, Vet. Bear with me.
Yeah. So anyway, Impact tapings are unique because they film them, and it's boom, 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 and but it's what you see on TV is not the order of how they filmed them. So it's very, very interesting to watch, because when you go back and watch it, there
we go.
Yeah, she's a friend of mine. So is her husband, Savage Gentleman. But it's very interesting how, they don't fuss around, and they encourage people to get cheering and everything like that. So being a part of a taping is unique. And then they try to get people to stay. But by this time it was midnight, and there was a GCW show at midnight, and so which was at another location. So people were going to that. They're trying to get the people to, because that's when they did their 80s bit with Lady Frost and a few other people, where they were playing 80s characters as that, which was entertaining, and stayed for that for a while because Frost had to wrestle, which she found out literally right before her match, the first tapings. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, all right, well, we're here for all night. Yeah.
By the way, wrestling.
Yeah, which we still had an hour and 20-minute drive back to get to my house. So, because they were staying with me. So I was like, oh, shit. So when she was done, they were like, yeah, you can go. And so it was like, oh, thank God.
Did they ever do how you go to work, right? I don't know why this just came in my head, right? But see when you go to work and you come home and you have like a rant or a kind of like, work was this today. Did you ever get that with the wrestlers? Like, they never say, yeah, the match is already back. Oh, this happened and this. And then I got to do all that. And then they asked me to do another match. Like, God, I only got like so long in the day. Like, did you ever get those sort of like rants? Not like shooty rants. I'm just more sort of like the everyday working rants of the normal person.
Honestly, I don't know what I can and can't share without betraying confidence. I'd be honest with you. I can either confirm or deny that happened. But what I will say is the rides to and from locations for wrestling matches are very interesting. Yeah. The conversations that are had and things along those lines.
The workplace gossip as well. Like, oh my God, did you see this person the other day? Oh my God.
Okay, one thing I was which was found out later. Caleb Conley was fired at WrestleMania, weekend. So he showed up finding out that he was fired from Impact, and so it was like. And so, which is awkward because he was there, right? And so he's at the event and everything, and now he's not working for Impact anymore. So hearing that, and that was interesting. But other than that, I'm not going to say anything of what people say or do or whatever.
Well, you don't need to say anything because we've got someone important that's coming onto the stream right now, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome back to the Smack Attack, the Vet. How we doing?
Hello, boys.
We can't call him a guest host or anything. He's a special contributor. He's bumped up now. You're no longer a guest host or whatever. You're a special contributor. The Vet.
I will accept any and all titles. I will accept any and all titles. I'm just happy to be here. Hey, I can't stay long.
Okay.
Oh.
But I came on to talk to Jimmy because I have very important business. But by the way, John, hi. How are you?
Hey, how are you, sir? Good.
Doing good today? Okay.
Yeah.
I heard you're not going to be able to mow or whatever?
Well, I could mow this morning earlier.
Okay. So, all right. All right. Now that pleasantry is out of the way,
yes.
I need to get to business. Okay. So you probably know this. But people from the NXT UK have been slowly, what do you want to say, immigrating to Orlando, right? And some of those people are Gallus. Now,
yes. Oh God,
I have gone on record, okay, as saying that Gallus has got to be not only the most boring act that the WWE currently has, but it should be on a short list of the most boring acts that they've ever had. But what? I wanted to talk to the Scottish person I know, and see, is that just me, or are these motherfuckers really the most boring people that have almost ever existed on a television anywhere?
I don't know what to say to that. I really do. I don't think they're that boring, are they? I mean, it's not as if like NXT UK was the most exciting show ever at the time. So
which makes them stand out a lot when they are the most boring on that show.
I suppose, but I don't know. I think I'd be kind of keen to sit back and wait for this one to play out because I think they could do a bit more than what they have done. They could be a little bit more interesting. But they don't really have a mouthpiece as such. Like Joe Coffey's all right with a promo now and again, but he's not exactly the greatest wordsmith ever. And Mark Coffey's starting to come into his own as a worker. He had some great matches towards like the end of NXT UK run, especially with the Heritage Cup stuff. So between them, they've got some great wrestling. Wolfgang, you'll get that one. I'll give you Wolfgang on that one. There's not really much about him, unfortunately, considering how great he was in ICW and all that stuff.
Well, to me, Wolfgang's the worker of the group.
Yeah.
Like the other two guys, I'm just like, well, I mean, none of them are exciting, but like at least I can get a match out of Wolfgang. The other guys are just like, but it's not just that they're boring, because like lots of people in wrestling have been boring and they usually don't go anywhere because they're boring. But I'm talking about as guys that were pushed, like shoved violently, like main event
Right in there.
level, right? So I'm just, I need to know: is this just a me thing? Is this an American thing? What is a perspective of a home, a homeboy, so to speak, on them and their place, not only in the UK, but then now if they're coming over here trying to, make a mark or do something, like, I wanted to get your perspective on that. That's what I'm here to do today, and only because I said I would.
I feel like before, if you were to kind of make this happen before NXT UK was a thing, like, when we started doing the United Kingdom Championship tournaments and sort of, if we started it this way, then I think we'd be talking about a totally different thing, a totally different dynamic, and it'd be a lot more exciting, because at the time Brit wrestling was one of the biggest things in the world. We were churning out incredible talent, so many personalities. The Coffees were a big tag team. They were on World of Sport. They were on national TV for a while. Wolfgang was coming off an ICW title run, so they had a lot of momentum and a lot about them. Then when you do NXT UK, everyone sort of was shielded from that again. British wrestling sort of calmed down a little bit. The bigger talents went into the workshop, worked on their own things, did like occasional tapings, and then of course you had COVID that happened and it slowed everything down. And it just, I don't know, the momentum of them was killed a little bit, and they had to try and claw that back. And I can see where you're coming from. They're not the most exciting of gangs in this whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, now and again, they'll do a promo, they're playing pool for a bit, and then, okay, we're having this match against this lot. But then there's never really been another side of the coin. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be different if, like, maybe Diamond Mine might be something to bring it out, but we never really got, like, gang warfare style of things. Any feuds that they had for a while, like Imperium, with Gunther and all that lot. When they came together, there was a mini feud, but it only lasted a wee while, so we never really got anything to get truly excited about. Whereas now we're getting to NXT, we've got Gallus, where, yeah, there's not much about them. If they have like an intriguing feud and a bit of character about them, maybe we bring them back to life again. Maybe we get a bit more excitement, and we might get to see what made them all hyped back in the day. But the process of where they were before NXT, you can see the change. Even if it's a bit more refined, the excitement isn't as there as it once was.
Well, I can't speak to the later stuff. I can only speak to the point up to when the brand was established and what they done after that.
Yeah.
And I thought that sucked. And my favorite thing that they've ever done is when Joe Coffey got powerbombed on the apron by Walter. I just laughed at him, and I saved that, GIF on my phone. So, like, that's the most use that they've ever had for me, because even amongst a promotion that was built around somewhat bland, undersized white people, these were the most bland act I think that they had, and I just don't want to see them anymore, but now I have to. Even their music is fucking boring. Like, just hearing them come out, I'm just, oh my God, please. John, what do you think? Gallus, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Honestly, it's interesting because I remember Coffee and both of the Coffee brothers and everything when they had like WCPW and they were doing all that kind of bit, and they were doing the tournaments, and they pushed him hard, and it was hard not to see Joe Coffey and like him, and like, okay, I can see why NXT hired him. But then it feels like he got into the WWE machine and they just neutered them. Yeah. All three of all of them, they became, like you said, that I agree, they're boring. Their entrance music sounds generic. There's nothing to them whatsoever. And already if they're feuding with Diamond Mine, who's another faction, something should have come out to make them feel better or bigger than, and they don't. At least be Priestley, at least Tyler Bates, like they feel important. Like there's a reason. Gallus, unfortunately, doesn't feel that way. I think that's the problem. You've neutered
but they tried to make us think so.
Right. But that's the problem. Like Coffee was a badass when it was WCPW, but now he's just a regular dude. Like it feels like he can't even wrestle anymore, which before NXT he could. Like he was really good. He had a really good match with Ishii at WCPW. That was one of the, I think, things that put him on the map was him and Ishii, two big strong boys just beating the shit out of each other. And it was a really good match. Now at NXT, it looks like he doesn't even know what the fuck to do in the ring. And I'm going, is this the same guy? And so it's hard for me to want to engage with these people because it's like I know what they were, and I can't even understand now like what's happening. And like you said, I was surprised they were the ones brought over. Like I thought, okay, we're hearing all these chopping blocks. The next thing we're going to hear is Gallus, Coffee, Wolfgang. All these guys are going to get their releases, and then instead we get, hey, we're going to fight Diamond Mine, which felt kind of out of nowhere because, second of all, where has Gallus been on NXT? I hadn't seen them in forever, and even being mentioned anywhere, in the last couple months, and then all of a sudden we're throwing them in with Diamond Mine.
I guess I don't. Ever since we lost the network, I can't be bothered to keep up with UK. Once they moved everything over to Peacock, I just lost touch with it, which is unfortunate because I liked some of the ladies that they had and a few of the guys. But every time Gallus came on, it was like the cure for insomnia, and I just wanted to get some. This is not like a important news flash. This is completely selfish. Me coming in, hogging the airwaves just to ask one question. Yeah. But I appreciate your guys' insight, and unfortunately, I will have to suffer through Gallus for as long as they're here until they get all their rebranding done over there or whatever. But
for Europe,
to be fair, once Worlds Collide happened, then they might just disappear again because they're doing NXT Europe, so you might not have to worry about them for too much longer.
Hopefully, but
that'd be good. Yeah, that's weird to say, but I think they're a team that needs to go on the shelf, need to be rebranded, figure out what they're going to be doing, scrap the Gallus name, scrap everything, come out as something different, or break them up and let them do their own thing individually and get back to what they were good at, which was wrestling. Which Coffee was a good wrestler, Wolfgang was a good wrestler. Joe,
you're gonna have two brothers, so you can't completely break them up. They're gonna.
Oh no, they weren't fine on their own before.
Yeah, I mean,
Owen but in the WWE though, they're not gonna just not acknowledge. Oh yeah, we just have these two boring guys on their own. So now you take, at least if you put them in a tag team, that's one boring segment. Now you're splitting the segments up into two boring segments if they get TV time. So. Maybe that's why they formed this faction, is just like, well, we can minimize the amount of boring TV time if we take the three boring guys and put them together. I think that's part of the thinking. I don't know.
Who knows?
But as for, just to stay on topic, as for this episode of SmackDown, I thought this was not a boring episode of SmackDown. Yeah. I thought it moved along. It was very exciting. I was disappointed in the Sheamus and Walter thing, only because I was like, oh, if I could have written this, there would have been some juicy stuff between these guys. But they just did a boring, generic wrestling. A guy that just got out of, the university and this is his first writing gig, and he has to, write for Walter or whatever, hand in this boring shit, more boring than Gallus maybe.
I respect you, and but I'm like, fuck that shit. It's a fight. I want to see you talk shit about each other. Yeah, you might be cool. Hey, you might have done all that shit, Sheamus. Cool. But I'm the new shit, and you ain't on my level. So, you're an old man now. You need two other guys to back you up to even survive in this league anymore. You could say something like that, and I don't know.
And also if you're going to steal from AEW, don't steal the Moxley and Tanahashi stare down.
Oh,
don't do that. Don't fucking do that.
I like that stare down as well.
No,
I liked it.
No, it was
ridiculous.
It was a complete ripoff, and you have two guys just going. well, you have three guys going fucking nuts around the ring, and you're just standing around each other. And then the way you stop it is you put your hand on each guy as they're like standing next to you. Kind of like that was at least we didn't end the show with those two staring at each other while fucking chaos is going on with Mox and Tanahashi. At least we had that as they stood there for 5 minutes looking like they're about to kiss each other. It's like, are you going to punch each other or kiss each other? Let's go. And at least with that, we got a shortened version of it, but you're taking from somebody else and you're not doing it better. That was the biggest issue, is it feels like we're having to pull from AEW, who's a less than. And let's be honest, the standard is WWE, and you're pulling from a less than to fill a segment with a championship you've just tried to rebuild, and you're going to do that. That was my biggest problem with it. I wanted to see these two face each other. I wanted to see something cool, but we got that instead. I don't disagree that it was different. It wasn't a contract signing, but it kind of did because there was just smiles going all around anyway. It was a contract signing without a signing.
It's very disappointing. Now, Canada Spaceman's in the chat saying the SmackDown was boring and that I'm wrong. Well, I mean, partially. Look, when I say it was not boring, I mean, I guess I just got done talking about the most boring act in wrestling history. So compared to Gallus, perhaps maybe Canada Spaceman has not had the pleasure of having to sit through Gallus, but and we're seeing Lance Storm's name bandied about a little bit. But at least when the bell rang, Lance Storm could go.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Anyway, that's all. That's all I had to say. You guys have a great show.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
And I will be in touch with you, gentlemen.
I may need you the next 2 weeks since James is going on holiday.
Holiday?
Yeah.
Just do a remote.
Oh, no. He's got the girlfriend. He's got the girlfriend.
Bring her on.
I'm sure she'll love that.
Get a non-fan perspective. Have her bury all the segments.
Great. Yeah.
She does all the time. She's like, this is shit. And like, she slags me off for the fact that I even watch it. She even slags me off the fact that I do a podcast about watching this.
Yeah. Sounds like a keeper.
Yeah, right?
This is going to make your life a living hell going forward, James. So just letting you know. But anyways, we'll deal with that. I'll be in touch with you, John. All right. Have a good one, everybody. Goodbye, chat. I love you all. Goodbye.
Love you. Bye.
That was interesting because of market research on NXT. I'm sitting there going, man, I've not watched NXT UK in ages. I didn't know. So
I only see what they put, and that's the thing. I only see what they put on YouTube now because we don't have it available, and so it's kind of one of those things where like they put 3 or 4 things from the show on their YouTube channel, and I can tell you within the last 6 months, I have not seen hide or hair of Gallus. So I was just like,
I will say that when they did show up, I was like, that's kind of weird.
Mm.
I was like, that's a weird thing to do. Just bring up Gallus, just have them pop up and do their thing. But cool.
Right. But really, if we're honest, if you're doing this Worlds Collide thing and you want to have somebody go against Dynamite, who in NXT UK do you have faction-wise that could go against Gallus? Exactly. I mean, go against Dynamite. Gallus is your only choice. Like as far as I know, they're the only faction in NXT, or UK, NXT UK.
Or ones that haven't already been brought over, like Resident Young Vets or what they're called now, the Dyad.
Ugh, stupid.
That was a heartbreaker.
But still, those were 2 guys, I mean, Diamond Mine is at least 4 if you Roderick Strong, the wrestler guy, and then the 2 brothers, so you needed more of a faction. Imperium would have worked if they would have not come over already either. And then they broke up Imperium. I think, it's interesting. I think they were just kind of like, we need to do Worlds Collide. We want something to do with Diamond Mine because we invested so much in this Olympic wrestler kid who's a part of this group. So let's bring over Gallus. So,
Totally.
Yeah,
that's quite an interesting segue. Like normally our segues are about like life, football. I was about to ask about the smell of grass, and then after cutting the grass, and then like Vet showed up, I was like, well, we're gonna be right into the deep end of this today.
Weed eating grass is so good. Like I did weed eating Edge, and there's something about that. It's just
even it's like clean. That's so sad.
Like yeah, so I always Edge and weed eat first before I mow because I don't know. Like I like clearing the edges, so I'm not having to fight the mower as much, so I can make a softer turn on my cuts and stuff along the edge. But then you get that just clean line, right down your edge of your driveway and your sidewalk and everything. Ugh, I love it. And then it is sweet. Anyway, but you know what is sweet? This Smackdown, because it wasn't nearly as bad, and we started with wrestling.
We really did.
We started with wrestling.
Is that the Ricochet and the Happy Corbin match?
Yeah,
right.
I mean, we've had this match like 16 times, but
it's also I've hit my limit with Happy Corbin. Yeah. He needs to wear wrestling gear again.
Yeah,
I'm fed up with the t-shirts and the regular trousers. Like fucking make an effort. Stop being lazy.
Yeah, it really feels like it at this point. I mean, or let's do I go back to when he was a bum and wearing the pirate shirt that was. And lost all of his shit, it's kind of like they're in between those moments. Like they're trying to do Happy Corbin, but they're trying to do bum ass Corbin before he got lucky and all that stuff. And it's not working. He needs to pick something. And I mean, he's a good heel. I'm not going to give you that. You could be a heel, but this in between Happy Corbin bullshit needs to go. He needs to, I liked it when he was desperate. I liked it when he was down on his luck. I mean, who doesn't want to see something like that where you have a guy who just continually almost gets in his own way and can't win, and then finally something happens where he can. I think that's good long-term storytelling, but do we trust WWE to do something like that?
Well, I'd say so now. Like at the moment, you'd probably be more likely to trust him with something now than you would have done about a month or so ago.
But like letting a guy go for a year like that, right?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, do we trust him? Yeah, to have that commitment to be a part of that. Like, is that something? It
would take a lot of like work and booking, and you'd have to kind of make sure that every feud bled into it and worked its way around. You obviously couldn't have him lose all the time, but you couldn't have him win all the time either. It'd kind of be in a nice weird middle section. But although we've already done this sort of crash and burn and then back up to it again, would it really work again if they'd done it again?
Well, because they didn't give it enough time. I mean, because the problem was they were doing that. It was a couple of weeks. And then he went in real life and won big money in Vegas when they were there.
Yeah.
And that was all over the internet. So then you gotta, we can't keep doing this, sad Corbin, he has no money thing, because he went out and legitimately won $200,000 in Vegas, And so it's like,
holy shit.
Yeah, we've got to do something, And so it was not even a month that he was the sad Corbin. So I think that's where we're at, is like we're slowly bringing him back there. And if they are, I'm good with it,
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You've wrestled Ricochet at least like 20 times here in the last 2 months. Let's start having that be you're losing to other people. All right, fine. You can't get past Ricochet. Well, I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to get past Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn beats him. Well, shit. All right. I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to, get over Aaliyah. And Aaliyah beats him. Shit.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's like he keeps tumbling down. Okay. I'm going to beat this jobber that they bring in. And the jobber beats him. Shit. What do I do? Like, he's almost like it's just. And it's the biggest thing is he's in his own way. He gets in his own way and he causes himself to lose, and he just continues to spiral. And I don't know, like you go that route with it, and I think that would be a good thing, to where in a year's time you expect him to lose, and then all of a sudden it turns around and he gets a win. And by that time, maybe you've turned him babyface because you just want to see him win at this point, because you feel so bad for him because he just looks pathetic. and yet he wins. I mean, but the problem is, how do you do that with a guy that they've touted as former NFL player, Golden Gloves winner, like all these accolades that they give him, and you're saying, we make him a loser.
Yeah.
That's the hard part about it with this character.
I suppose it kind of works out of what they're going to do with McAfee as well, because it does feel like, especially after what happened after, with McAfee still doing the pen on the camera and all that stuff. I love the bit where he tried to circle his head and he moved. He's like, "Oh shit!" Shoot.
Yeah. Well, there goes our shit for the. Yeah. There goes our shit for our PG-14, so it's gone.
Totally. But yeah, so I suppose it rides on what they're going to do with McAfee. Like, if he beats McAfee, does it all turn over on a dime and it completely changes, or does he lose to McAfee again? And then here's the thing: we could always bring back the Lone Wolf. Go back to basics and like his old persona and kind of bring new life into that. That'd be the way to go.
Maybe. I mean, that's really the question is right now, what do you do with Corbin? I mean, I think that's the biggest question, is what do you do with that character? And, he's lost to an announcer and Pat McAfee. All right. But at the same time, Pat McAfee is good in the ring. He is not, like shit in the ring or anything like that. So it's not like we're saying this is a bad thing that he lost Pat McAfee, because the dude's proven he can put on matches in the ring. But still, at the end of the day, it's an announcer. And as a lot of times what they say is, how do you get your heat back from the announcer? Well, he's going to wrestle, once or twice a year? So now that this is going to happen, are we going to let this build for a whole year where he comes back and finally comes after, whatever? I mean, and then you can't really do the whole heckling thing because Bailey's now taking that over with Michael Cole.
Oh my god, that was so good as well.
Last week and then this week they're on the and then this week she's sitting right next to him. Oh my god, that was hilarious.
The bit was like it was like during the tag tournament match, it was like, "Watch out, Michael! Oh, you do like me?" No, I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, and like they weren't anywhere near like Michael Cole. It was like, "Watch out, Michael!" Yeah. And then the whole thing. Oh my god, just hey, you texted me every day. No, I didn't. Just like that was entertaining, and I don't know. Like I never understood what the beef was between Michael Cole and Bailey, but I love it. I didn't know I needed it, and I'm here for it. But again, it goes back to one of those things where how's that heat paid off?
Yeah.
It's not like Michael Cole's going to interfere their match or a Bailey match. Michael Cole's not going to get involved. He's going to be behind the desk. Where does that pay off? I mean, that's, I guess, my biggest.
Although I think that's a dynamic that people like, though. Like I think that's something that came from the COVID era where everyone was trying to find something, and Bailey just for whatever reason, Bailey bounced off Michael Cole really well. And sometimes having that base, like we remember back in the day when like you had, I don't know, like Gorilla Monsoon on commentary, or who else? Who used to do interviews? Mean Gene.
Yeah.
Like if people bounced off them, it didn't necessarily mean that they had to lead to a story or anything like that, but it gave them sort of like a platform where they could just throw things, have it bounce back at them, and just show a bit more of their personality.
But they wouldn't go directly at Mean Gene or Gorilla Monsoon. They would go at their opponent, who those were the baby faces, and they would say, "Oh, would you stop that?" Like, or and then of course with Gorilla Monsoon, it was him and Bobby Heenan who were on the table doing the announcing a lot of times, and Bobby would be like justifying the heel. He's like, "Oh, would you stop that?" And like that's where it would go. So it's different when they, like in Mean Gene, when he would do wrestlers, they would talk bad about, and they would say something real negative about their opponent, and he would be like, "No, hey, would you cut that out? That's not a nice thing to say." I mean, that's where it was. It wasn't like heat was directed at the announcer. The announcer helped build the heat by saying that's not appropriate to talk about, or it would be between announcer and announcer. Jesse the Body and Gorilla Monsoon, or Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon. Those kind of things. And so when you have a wrestler with a announcer, I think that's the issue. But like, I know Bailey's not doing this to like attack Cole. It's just to be more annoying and kind of nutso. So I don't view it as, but it's still heat in a way. Oh yeah, Heenan with the Hulk, Lab Rat, good call.
Yep.
But Heenan again was an announcer, but Heenan could also wrestle. Like that's the thing. He was a manager who could wrestle, and he looked good doing it. And when he took bumps, man, he took bumps. So and that's where I think that this is with Bailey. We're trying to make her heel, and so let's make annoying is heelish, because I don't think she could be a bitch. Like, that's something on a heel level, like Natalya or Sonya Deville,
Sasha, maybe Charlotte.
Yeah, like Bailey is not that character. Like they tried the bitch role and she couldn't do it. It wasn't believable. The annoying bit, the hello ding dong and all that kind of stuff, that was her heel reversal and role. Because when she started with killing the inflatables and all that kind of stuff, she was trying to be the badass bitch heel, right? And it was like this doesn't make any sense. It's not who she is. But the annoying heel is who she is. I don't know, Media Empire. I think she's being a natural by being annoying. He says she's an unnatural annoying heel. I think she is. I think
she is a wee bit. I see her entertaining. I find it really entertaining. I struggle to kind of it's weird because I struggle to dislike her because I find it entertaining. Like, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, kind of like Bobby the Brain Heenan. He was entertaining. He was a heel, but he was still entertaining. You still wanted to watch because he said some shit sometimes, and you're just like, "Oh, that's fucking hilarious." But he's supposed to be a bad guy, right? He's supposed to be a heel, and yet he says stuff that was almost more entertaining. And so that's where I, go, with that. Okay, he says maybe it's due to who she is talking to. Maybe so, but so far from what I've seen, the last 2 weeks she's been interacting with Michael Cole, and that's been entertaining and annoying to the sense of trying to be a heel. It felt very natural. Like last night, if you listen to commentary, it felt very natural where she would just get jabs in, and all directed at Michael Cole. And Pat McAfee was, kind of egging her on, and saying, oh, it's nice to have a commentator who respects me, kind of thing. And
that's the other thing as well, is like Michael Cole's done really well as like bouncing off people just in general. But you tend not to see it as much in like the main cast of characters in the ring. Like if you see Bailey do a promo, I don't know, when was the last time she did a promo something like Raw? Was it Alexa Bliss or something like that? And it just didn't quite bounce off as well. The one with she had to do a lot of the legwork, whereas this one is a bit more kind of freedom to just have a try because she'll know she'll get it back and she can work with it. Whereas because she's doing a lot of work in the ring, it's a bit more contrived, a bit more kind of laid in its tracks, so maybe doesn't play off as well that sense. And that's probably why we notice it more when she's speaking to Michael Cole, because it's just giving her the tools and the freedom to do it.
Right, because okay, let's take that Monday. Trish Stratus is in the ring with Bianca Belair and then Bailey and her crew, and of course Bailey's the one carrying it because Dakota Kai and Io are not really going to talk. They had their bits, but it's Bailey who's going to carry it, and Bailey struggled. You could see she was struggling with that. Trish, I love that line. You're going to find out real quick that I go from was retired, am retired to was retired, and as she's taking off the jacket, and holy shit, by the way, can I say Trish Stratus?
Lads.
Shit.
Fucking it took me back 20 years.
She didn't look that good when she was in WWE, dude. I'm telling you. Holy shit. And
have you seen her husband?
No.
Punching. I mean, punching above his weight.
Really?
Like fair play to him. Like school sweethearts and everything like that, right? But you can tell me right now, if you saw her husband, because I think you showed him, because it was like the point where, do you remember the Hall of Fame? She got like the Hall of Fame speech and they cheered her, and it cut to her husband and they booed him. It's we all know he's punching miles above his weight.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Well, that's Lacey Evans and her husband. If you've seen her husband, He's definitely punching above his weight class too. But
not to disrespect him or anything like you.
No.
Well done, guys.
Hey, well done. I mean, but like I think to me, that's where Bayley struggled. You have Trish, who looked like $1,000,000, in the ring, just still had it on the mic. Bianca Belair, who just crushes it, on the mic. I feel. I personally, I like her on the mic. I think she has good promos. And then you had, the rest of their crew come out, Alexa Bliss and them, and Bayley is trying to like, okay, like it felt very forced, very flubbed, very like, what am I doing next kind of thing. Yeah. Whereas tonight felt almost natural, because she was just free to riff and and let loose. And so, and I think there was a lot of entertaining moments in that time. So I don't know. I mean, I think Bayley is, granted, she's 2 or 3 weeks back on TV from having been off for almost a year, so you got to cut her a little bit of slack. She's still learning
a bit.
Yeah, she's still learning her character. She's now she left as a singles person, and now she's part of a crew. And I think they're called Control now or something like that.
And she's leading that crew as well. Like she's the main focal
She's
point
never been a leader. She's never been a leader of a crew. She's always been a part of a crew, never been a leader. And so,
Monday was a hard night for her just in general. We had that. She had to try and take the lead in that promo, and then she had to wrestle Leah.
Right.
Ooh, that wasn't a great match. It was all Bayley, to be fair, but at the same time, I was like,
yeah, it's Aaliyah. I mean, I'm sorry.
She's also in the final of this. Not to give anything away. I think you already know if you're watching this podcast.
Right.
Like, she's in the final of this tag title tournament, and I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
But we all already know why.
We know why.
We should probably actually mention that the cursed side of the tag title tournament decided tonight. Fuck, we only got Toxic Attraction for a match, and then Gigi Dolan apparently has a concussion or something.
But nothing was said. Like, that was the thing.
Nothing was said, yeah.
Nothing was said. All of a sudden, the next thing I know is they're having a last chance.
Yeah, they announced it on Monday,
and I'm like, what?
Total blew the whole, like, we spent a good solid like 20 minutes or so debating the whole, like, who should be in the final of this tournament and why, and it just got null and void so fucking quickly. It didn't even matter. We were getting heated and everything, and it didn't even matter. there was no, like, but it was so. But then I'm pretty convinced that there must be something else to this, because I don't know about you, but I vaguely remember watching SmackDown and she seemed fine.
Yeah.
Didn't seem like there was anything wrong. Didn't seem like she was out of place. She seemed absolutely fine. So unless something happened at a live event or an NXT show somewhere, or I don't know, like, or something's just happened and it's caused her to be pulled from this, have they just sat there and went, we've made a mistake, and then just cancelled it, or what? Like,
who knows? And said, hey, let's give one of y'all a concussion. Because is it Gigi who used to be Priscilla Kelly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you see the tweet as well? I was like, where's PK at?
Yeah.
And Priscilla Kelly, obviously. So I was like, okay.
Yeah. Or like, remember when PK was here or something? I don't know. Like, I saw it and it was like, okay, she doesn't seem like there's
nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. Like, I wonder if that was a shot saying, there's nothing really wrong with me. And if you're asking where PK is, that means you're looking to get out because you want to be back to that character. And it's like, okay. Like, it was,
strange.
So it was very weird. Like, okay, Elizabeth says they weren't even on NXT this week, and they weren't even mentioned. So, it was weird. But this last chance thing was stupid. Like, it felt like the wrong thing happened. Because
there was never going to be a good answer to this, though, was there?
No,
going to be a good answer.
No, so we had Xia Li and Shotzi, who lost to Raquel and Aaliyah in the first round. So
by virtue, they shouldn't even have been in this match at all anyway.
Right. So we knew they weren't going to win. You had Nikki ASH and Piper. Because I'm not calling her that stupid name.
I hope they change that soon. I really
do. You've got you had Sonya and Natalya, and then you had Tamina and
Natalya. And you knew
No,
Tamina and Dana Brooke, which is
Dana
another weird
Brooke.
period.
Yeah, I know. Like to start the match, Tamina kicks Natalya in the face because they're like, they used to be tag partners, and I'm like,
friends.
Well, they're on different shows. Like, what do you expect? Like,
yeah,
and I mean, again, it's like the randomness of these tag teams. Dana Brooke and Tamina and Sonya Deville, and then like the promo after when Natalya and Sonya win, which that ending was so weird. It was like they're trying to pump each other up to say how great they were, and I'm just like, God, this is so awkward. It's like they're just now learning each other and going, oh, well, look, you were this, and oh, and you were this. So, cool. We're just, hey, it's good to meet you. It's good to meet you too, as we prepare to go to these semifinal matches. Yeah,
also,
I don't know.
Can we take a moment to say that Nikki ASH was the ring general of that match, and she's still cutting about dressed as a superhero, even though it's pretty clear the character is past being almost a superhero.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Why am I watching her ring general this and she's being made out to look like a fool?
Yeah.
I'm
she needs to go back. So I'm being honest. Maybe Elizabeth and I were talking last night watching SmackDown, and she mentioned that maybe she needs to go back to the Scottish chick. And I did, and she did bring this up, which I was going to do. I did like that Piper and Nikki were arguing in the background of that promo with Sonya. So it's yeah. So I want the angry, crazy Nikki. That's the whole thing that made her an interesting character. Like it's almost now she's not interesting. I don't care. I'd rather see her the way she was. So
I want Nikki Storm. I want the best in the fucking galaxy. I want arrogance. I want skill in the ring. Not giving a fuck. I don't want this. I've seen her at her best. I've seen her when she's put in some of the clinics in the match. Like, I didn't mind the old Nikki Cross, but not the fucking hamburger. Let's be fair. The scarf and all. Or whatever the thing she was wearing. It just, breaking my heart more and more to see it. We've got all this great Scottish talent, like Gallus, apparently boring. You've got Nikki GSH.
What do you mean apparently boring?
Apparently
all right. Hey, take the Scottish flag sunglasses off for a minute, and don't say apparently boring. Don't tell me since they've been in NXT. I will say it. Don't say apparently. Don't tell me since they've been in NXT they have been boring. They have been boring. They have been boring.
They've had their moments.
Joe Coffey getting powerbombed by Walter in a two-way table. That's a good one. They have not been what they were.
But what I'm getting at is they've got all this great Scottish talent. There's like Noam Dar in there and some other names around about there. And the only one they've really put any stock behind was Drew. And we'll talk about him in a bit. And I'm like, you've the proof's there that we can have a UK Scottish-based talent do really well, and it's fine. So how can we not just do this with like everyone else? I will always stand up for my Scottish peeps. I will always do that, Elizabeth. Don't you worry about that. We should really push on, though. We are kind of... I'm not saying we're pushed for time, but I'm quite conscious we're still on like the second segment of the show. Should we talk quickly just about the outcome of the women's tag title tournament? Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah winning that.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and skip to that. Yeah, at this point, you and I talked. I felt like the heel was coming out of this, and this is where I told you, Monday night we had the heel team win, in control.
Yeah. We knew we were going to win anyway.
Yeah, and so now it's. You're not going to put a and then let's be honest, of the teams in there, it was a crapshoot, Yeah. It was a crapshoot on who you're going to put in there. And so might as well put the most babyface of babyface people, Raquel and Aaliyah in there, and then watch them get destroyed by, these two. Because, again, you had the same thing happen. Aaliyah just get battered and bruised. And, Spirit of 76, where she's hurt and she comes back. But you had Raquel cleaning house and getting the win because, she's the big powerhouse woman in the thing and she carries the team. And I feel like that, the whole bit will be that they won't be able to overcome that aspect when it comes time to, for the tag match for the finals. Because, again, who do we have waiting in the wings? We have Sasha and Naomi. Yeah.
Allegedly. We're really making a big assumption that they are going to turn up again.
Well, that's the only reason to have this tournament.
Yeah.
It's the only reason to have this tournament, James, because remember, they had the belts and they said nothing about them for however long they were. Yeah, since they left. And so I think honestly, this is the whole way to bring them back. So yeah.
But the final of the tournament's on Monday.
Yeah, it's on Monday.
Mm-hmm. That's so weird. Why not do it next weekend?
Well, because you already have the Intercontinental, you have a lot of the other titles, and this is again.
Bump up. Like I want, if you're gonna do it, if you're ever gonna do the UK show again, call it bumper. Call it big.
This is where it's gonna. This is what they're gonna do. This I have a feeling this is what they're gonna do. They're gonna win Monday, right? Mm-hmm. So then they're gonna fly over to Cardiff because Friday's show will probably be taped or whatever. Yeah. And so they're gonna fly to Cardiff during the week. They're going to be there at the pay-per-view saying how great they were, that they're the champs, and whose music is going to play. Sasha Banks and Naomi, and they're going to come out, and they're going to challenge those two for the next pay-per-view. Do you think it'll be
like a surprise?
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do because, they've already announced the matches for next week's SmackDown, which to me tells me that they, like during the show, they were talking about, we're going to have this one and this one and this one and this one and this one. And so next week's SmackDown is going to be recorded or is already recorded because they're going to be in Cardiff already because next Saturday, a week from today, is Cardiff, and so I feel like really that's what we're going to see from these two. And so that's what we'll get for these women's tag titles is they'll be on the show, but it'll be that kind of aspect of it. I don't know, who knows?
Yeah.
Labrat says Sasha is an anti-vaxxer, so she's not vaccinating to go to the UK. Labrat, maybe they do a video package. Who knows? I don't think
it's an issue. I'm pretty sure that for the UK, as long as you've kind of, I think it's just as long as you've got evidence of negative testing and stuff, and we're getting to the stage where we're getting past it now as well. So I don't think it'll be a non-issue. Listen, have you seen the state of politics in the UK right now? I think COVID is well in the rear view mirror right now. Well in the rear view mirror. Next month I'll be. The next month this podcast won't happen because I won't afford the electricity to power this whole house. I wish I was exaggerating.
But you're going on holiday, so you've got money.
I can't wait to decide about having a meal or having heating. It's getting real.
Real.
Totally. Oh, it's unbelievable. So we've got the tag title situations dealt with. We touched upon the Sheamus and Gunther thing. We don't have to talk about too much. I quite enjoyed that stare off that they done. You were kind of saying it was a total rip off of Moxley and Tanahashi.
Because it was. I mean, that's the thing. About a month and a half ago, you had the same exact thing happen where you have complete chaos going around the ring, and you had Moxley and Tanahashi just facing each other, face to face, nose to nose. And it was like, it lasted for 5 minutes and it went off the air like that. And it was I have to wonder, like, if they were going, have they cut off yet? What the fuck? Because it's like, how long do you shit talk somebody for 5 minutes before you punch them in the face or kiss them? I mean, that's what it looked like. Yeah. And so it wasn't done very well at all. But at the same time, too, this again, like I said earlier, it felt like you're taking from a less than, and
but did it not just get you excited for next week though? Because it got me really excited. I was
already excited.
Proper boxer stare off.
Yeah, but I was already excited though. This was something I like. Okay, like honestly, last week I was not expecting Sheamus to win, and then he wins, and it's like, oh, Sheamus and Gunther. Right. Yeah, or hey, Sheamus and Walter. Yeah, I like this. This is good. And my problem again is, is the whole coming out with your crew kind of thing. Like Sheamus doesn't need that. He doesn't need that. And I don't know. The whole like Sheamus by himself with the brawler, the fight night thing is cool. Having Rich Holland and I'm not calling him Butch. Pete Dunne. You know, I know. I'm just saying, like it's still like the fact that they call him Butch and just that him and Pete Dunne are out there with him. I get it. You're trying to get these young European stars to rub with Sheamus, who's the established guy, you know, but let them be a tag team and let them do it on their own. You know, Sheamus doesn't need them. Like, he's proven time and time again, that's one tough motherfucker. Like, that dude can go. And I mean, if you watch, like, he has a YouTube channel where he just works out with, you know, anybody and everybody and does all kinds of workouts. The dude's a fucking beast. And we don't need him having these other guys on there. So, you know, and I love the fact that this is going to be a big fight feel. It's on a pay-per-view. You know, there's all really, really good things about it that I like, that are really, really good. I like the vet said, I wanted something different. I wanted something better, and then we didn't get that. And that's where I got a little bit, because it's like, okay, Sheamus is talking, Gunther is talking. Like, I would have been fine if they had just started beating the crap out of each other, you know, because that's what we're expecting next week anyway. You know, these two guys are fighters, you know, and I guess that was the thing. If it would have been better if it had been the other way around, if Sheamus and Walter were starting just to beat the shit out of each other, and everybody else is just looking, going like,
you don't have them touch each other until their time is right. That's what I like about it. Is like no touching, no fighting, because it's going to be a scrap and a half, and I don't want to see anything. I want to wait until the very minute when the bell rings. Here we go. It's fight. It's that again. We talk about the Sheamus's fight night thing, but it really does harken back to like the big fights, big fight feel. You know, boxing, MMA, all these things. It's like they never get to touch until the bell rings and the ref says right fight. Like, there's something special about that, and it's something that's missing from wrestling. Like every storyline, every feud now, there has to be some kind of like interaction, some kind of fighting in between to set up a match. Whereas there's been nothing. There've been words, there's been fight and talk, you know, like, I'm going to make you bloody with my slaps, I'm going to have a bang of a match with all this stuff. And it's like, right, here we go, fight. And obviously, brain, because we've seen it so much in wrestling, the first instinct would be time for them to fight now. But it's like, it's something about the Intercontinental title as well. We talked about last week where they're trying to bring so much prestige to it. And this helps it out such a great deal, because they're making it important. They're making it feel like the workers' title, and a big fight title as well. Like, of all the matches on this card next week, Gunther and Sheamus to me is a big fight.
Yeah,
the big fight feels there. I'm like, here we go. That's one of the ones I'm really excited for, and they've done it the right way. I think if they had any kind, and that's why it's so good that you've got Kaiser Ludwig, whatever his name is, and then Butch doing their thing, because they can do the interacting because they're not in the match. So you still get the little bit of lift where they can bounce off. You're still getting that, but the big key players are there face to face, and that's what gives me the warm and fuzzies about this. Is that knowing that they're not going to touch each other until the bell rings. Yeah, and it's got to be it's going to be action from the off.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be a feel each other out type of match. It's going to be bell rings, bang, here we go. Let's see what they've got.
Yeah, and, you know, now that you say that, I agree, because, I mean, you think about it, you had Roman attacking Drew, and you've had that going on for a while, where Drew attacks Roman and Roman attacks Drew, et cetera, et cetera. You know, now that you've said that, and you look at it with the bigger picture of everything needs to go on, I can see that now. You know, it makes a little bit more sense. It felt, I don't know, like I'd seen it before by somebody else, and I guess that was my point more. It was like, I wanted to see something different. Yeah. And yet you pulled from someplace else, and that was my disappointment. And that's why I said, well, at least punch each other or whatever, because I don't know, it felt weird to see an AEW bit on a WWE screen. And so this is where I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. And again, I felt like this was a contract signing without the contract. But at the same time too, I see what you're saying with, like, because nowadays MMA guys are getting in each other's faces. They're pushing each other a little bit. They're doing that kind of stuff. This is almost like two MMA fighters who understand and respect each other, so they're not going to touch each other until the fight, but their crew is going crazy against each other. like, you know, you got a knucklehead in your crew, so everybody in your crew is going stupid. But the two fighters, because they're like, no, we're going to do this at the fight. I don't want any excuse. I don't want you to say, well, I got hurt at this or whatever. No, I'm going to beat the shit out of you at the fight, and that's going to be it. And that's almost kind of what it feels like. That you know, they're saying, I want no excuses. You know, I want no, you know, any kind of, you know, thing where you can weasel or whatever. I'm going to beat you like a man, and nothing beforehand.
It's going to be the real deal.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of part of me that hopes there's like security there when they're coming to the ring. Know how they did in like UFC cards,
Right.
It's like a very heated feud, and then have like you get to your corner and then security just kind of stand across, like something a bit like that. It doesn't have to go over the top, but just those little things that it's like they're doing everything they can to make sure they're not having any kind of physical interaction until the bell rings.
Mm-hmm.
And just to me, it just makes it seem more. And if they pull it off really well, as we hope they would, like what does that do for the Intercontinental title? That makes it look so much bigger, so much grander, so much more important. That's a title that you could put higher up the card.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you put it this way, if they do it right, and you've still got Roman Reigns cutting about, and he's holding off till Mania, and you say he's going to take some time off. A good Walter feud for the Intercontinental title could feasibly main event a card if they do it right. I mean, there's a lot of kind of there's a lot of lifting you got to do.
Yeah, that's some heavy lifting.
It's heavy lifting.
I mean, really.
But that's the kind of levels they can bring it to if they do it right. And that's the thing is, back in the day, it's happened before. We've had here, literally 30 years ago, Intercontinental title main evented SummerSlam in London at Wembley Stadium. So it can be done with the right people, the right circumstances. It can be there.
Right. And who won that title?
British Bulldog.
Right. And where were they at?
Wembley Stadium.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, though. It's the right people, the right place, the right circumstances. But then, I'm not saying it's going to happen right away, but then if you work on this is the groundwork for something like that.
But when in order to do that, and here's my question, because I'm thinking about this. If you have it on somebody like Walter, doesn't it need to be in a place not in the United States for him to main event, like somewhere in Europe?
No, absolutely not. As I say it, as long as he can build someone up, he could be the big bad on a brand on SmackDown. Realistically, he's showing his presence. He's got a great character. He's got all the tools necessary to be a big heel. He just needs a baby face that would really kind of bring him up to that next level. We don't have many of those, but say things didn't go well with Drew and Roman, and then after the Karrion Kross business, Drew set his sights on Walter, or I don't know, who could we bring from Raw that could do it? Bobby Lashley, if he decided, you know what, I'm going to go for the Intercontinental title and jumped over to SmackDown. Bobby Lashley and Walter, that's a match if you done it right.
Mm-hmm.
Those little things where you can build them up to the point where it's like, it doesn't even have to be a feud. It can be just like this with Sheamus, like a big fight. Who's the next one? Who's the next contender? Who's the big guy? Who's like higher up the food chain? Let's work our way up as high as we can. Proper like boxing or MMA. And then have like the top contender take him on, and then have these more interesting and more intriguing and more exciting names come up to the point where, as I say, you could feasibly have a main event match out of this.
True. I mean, I guess I feel like, that it's going to be one of those things where, we have, let's be honest, we don't know the future, really right now. It's very muddled where we're going to be going from here. This is the first pay-per-view where I really feel like, because it's in Cardiff, because it's in Wales, because of the heavy promotion with Drew McIntyre, if they don't give it to him, I feel like they're losing a lot of money, and they're putting, a lot of things down, because you've invested. I mean, the video package tonight, the amount of investment that you've put into this man, and you don't have him win on Sunday, even if it's because of the Usos interfere or Sami interferes or whatever interference or bullshit or whatever. If you don't have him win in Cardiff, which is, he says it's on my island, Cardiff, Wales, Scotland,
It did open the door to something very annoying for me, though. I call it the Andy Murray conundrum. So
I know
when Andy Murray does well in Wimbledon, right? He's British.
Right.
But the second he loses, he's Scottish. Fucking watch this. This whole thing is like, Britain, I'm proud to be British. In my land, the UK.
Well, he never says British. I've never heard him say British. He says my island, but he never said British.
No, he talked about being proud to be British.
Did he really?
Yeah, he said he was proud to be British, but he also mentioned he was the first Scottish WWE champion. And this is where it came into me. He was like, he talked about being British, but then he pointed out he was the first Scottish person in WWE and all this stuff. And I was like, here it is. Here it comes. He's going to big up the UK, big up Wales. This is his island. I'm British. And then he loses, and he'll be fucking Scottish come the next Friday. Don't disrespect us like that. That's what's going on.
I mean, I've heard that. I've heard that plenty of times where, premier Scottish athletes, when they lose, they're called Scottish, but when they win, they're British. But I guess I missed that last night where he said he was proud to be British, because I've only heard Scottish, and I've only heard him say my island, which is, he's claiming sovereignty over the entirety of, Scotland, England, and Wales.
Although he is a Rangers fan. He is a Glasgow Rangers fan, so he probably would be classed as British no matter what. So
wow. Okay. So
that's a story and a half. that's a football story for another day.
The jealous what do they call it? It was kind of like here, the inter-country rivalry is rearing its head. Kind of like here with like Houston and Texas and Dallas, or San Antonio or Austin or whatever. Those things rear their heads.
Yeah, because the weird thing is Rangers and Celtic. Rangers is British, then Celtic were Irish, obviously, so there's that.
Right.
But for whatever reason, the Rangers fandom just cling on to being British to weird levels. Like, I get it, it's fine. You can say you're British, but we're Scottish as well. It's a bizarre sort of time. Nikki Cross gets angry if you pronounce Glasgow the wrong way. Of course, everyone does, because it's literally Glasgow. And your Glasgow nonsense.
I've never heard it called Glasgow. I've heard Glasgow. That's
it's Glasgow. It's easy enough.
Yeah, I mean,
don't make it harder for yourself.
Yeah, Edinburgh.
Yeah,
not Edinburgh.
Apparently, it's one of the worst pronounced cities in the world.
Really?
Edinburgh. Because some people say Edinburgh, Edinburgh, and all this stuff. It's bizarre.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. But anyway, we're digressing. Those are really good promo packages that they did for Drew McIntyre to set up.
They did.
Clash of the Castle.
And that's what I'm saying
for this main event.
You built it up, but it almost feels like at this point Drew can't lose. Like it feels like what was unless you're trying to give the middle finger to the English Isles, because think about it. When was the last time a title of this caliber was won over there?
When AJ Styles beat Jinder Mahal.
Well,
for reals, that was the biggest one.
Other than the Bulldog, right? Let's if we're honest, other than when British Bulldog won over there,
Intercontinental title, yeah.
Why not?
He never even won the European title when it came over to the UK. He only got the Intercontinental title.
Right.
It does say itself for this, but my heart says Drew wins it, but my head is just too critical to accept it. I'm gonna no, they're gonna be keep it on Roman till Mania. That's the goal. That's the aim. So I'm kind of torn. I see it. I can see everything they're showing, all the signs, everything like that. It's it should be Drew. They're just gonna do something really weird with it. They're just gonna pick a moment and just bring it crashing down. But then again, you can't finish. I suppose that's the other thing. is you can't really end your first UK pay-per-view in 30 years on a downer.
Right.
You know, like that's the other thing. Is like, do you really go with it? Do you really have like Roman win again? Does that make it a downer? Does that make it a good thing? Although after what we watched later in the night, it was like, oh, hang on, there was a bit of a resurgence from Roman. They did a lot more work with him. It's like, whoa, I don't know. My head's all over the spot. WWE draft. James McIvor drafted to NXT Europe. God, can you imagine? Be fed up with me in a week. Oh, don't say that, lab rat. Cross gonna cost them the match. If they do that at the Principality Stadium, go with a schmoz finish. I swear to God, don't bring another one. Leave your fucking pay-per-views over there. You can keep them.
Well, you're the one who brought, Jake Paul into the WWE universe by speaking that.
Come on, stop holding that against him.
So this is your karma, bitch.
Logan Paul, for the record.
I don't care. One of these dipshits who's on YouTube who does stupid shit. Whatever. You brought them in the WWE, so maybe this is your karma.
Potentially. But then again, I stand by this. The information was there. Just nobody wanted to look at it until I pointed out.
Exactly, because nobody wanted it in the universe, and then you said it, and then it...
Yeah.
See?
Recognized as the smoothest moment on this podcast ever. To my detriment, to be fair.
Exactly.
But,
yeah. But, I think we've covered everything. Do we want to talk about Sammy and Drew?
Canada Spaceman was asking about that. We read the comments. I quite liked all that stuff though. I liked the whole like Sammy having like another heart-to-heart with Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
and he was like, "I appreciate what you did for me, but I need you to do me another favor. I need you to take him out. I need to make him lose." And he's doing like the handshake with Jimmy and just been like, "Yeah, I'll do my best. I'll do my best." And then Jace points at the door,
but he gives him a slap on the back on the way out.
Yeah. It was. I feel so bad for him to the point where even Jimmy was like turning to Jay at one point, like, "Come on, man, leave him alone."
Yeah. Like picking on the special ed kid, it felt like a little bit.
It's like, why? What was it? Because like, why are you giving me this negative energy? I'm just about to go to the ring. I'm just like, why are you doing this negativity to me? That's what I was saying to Roman. Was like, yeah, that's the problem. That's what he said to Roman behind my back. And I was like, fair enough. There's a little bit there. I quite like that. So maybe we'll get a mini feud with Jay and Sammy at some point. But
who knows?
Yeah, good. It was an all right match as well with Drew and Zayn. Wouldn't have expected Zayn to win it anyway.
No,
but that post-match segment was just fantastic.
Yes,
fantastic.
They beat the shit out of him.
Beat the fuck out of him. And then Reigns getting the chair, sitting on the chair over his neck with the belts, and just like, "Someone take them from me! I want somebody to take them from me." I'm like, okay, he's not happy.
No,
he's like intense. Like that was a shot. Like if you go online and look for it, that image of him just sitting on the chair with the two belts, just like staring into the camera. It's like,
I think that's WWE's picture for that segment on their YouTube channel. Is that
so good.
Hey, they even let Sammy get a haluva kick in there.
Yeah,
and, like, all right, Sammy, come on, get your shit in, kind of thing too. So it was interesting to say the least to see, one, that they weren't going to show up, that they did, and two, how it all played out with,
he's like the Heyman stand-in. Yeah, that's what Zayn is. He's a Heyman for now until Heyman comes back.
Where is Heyman? Like, have they said? I haven't heard.
Maybe he's on holiday. Maybe he's just calling. Maybe he's on a wee vacation or something.
Well, I know that he went through a table or whatever from Brock. When they were at the pay-per-view, and I guess since then he's been out from that. I guess he's been quote unquote hurt, but I think
they did that to write him out, the table thing.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah. Because they did do some funny stuff after, like when they were helping him back, and like Roman Reigns is rubbing him in the back of the head and giving him a kiss on the head, to make him feel better and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so I think there was a bit of playing up for the fans. So I think he's out of there.
Yeah. Well, but you think is he coming back, or do you think he's out like gone and not coming back?
I don't know. I think he might come back. I mean, it wouldn't. I wouldn't really necessarily need him back for now. I think they're starting to come into their own without him. But I think he'd be welcomed back quite easily if whenever he comes back. But there's no rush for him. I wouldn't say there's a rush to have him come back here.
Agreed.
Yeah. Man, we didn't even talk about the New Day and Viking Raiders.
Yeah, I mean,
much of a segment, to be fair.
Well, I'm going to be honest. Again, I may have been talking with Elizabeth last night about this segment, and it was predictable. He's in the wheelchair and he's got the boot on, and I'm like, at one point, I'm like, he's going to pull up.
How did he get in the ring in the wheelchair? By the way, did no one ever pick up on that?
I know, right? Yeah, and so it's like, okay, cool, And they're gonna do some trickery because he had the blanket and the way he was seated. He wasn't
very reclined,
very, very like there was something. I'm like, okay, so he's got something that's gonna happen because the Viking Raiders chucked their shields because they were coming and they chucked their shields. So again, it's like I'm appreciating that because if they'd had their shields, it would have negated the kendo stick. So it's almost like New Day's being smart. No, you come in the ring. And then, okay, we're not going to beat up the guy in the wheelchair. We're going to beat up the guy who's not in the wheelchair. Oh, well, look, the guy in the wheelchair has kendo sticks.
Oh, my God, he's alive.
Yeah.
No way.
They burn Bootios. I mean.
Yeah. They burnt our legacy and everything like
that. The box of Bootios, man. It was just, it wasn't anything that we've seen before or since. The question is, when are they having their match?
Next week.
Is it next week? Did I see?
Yeah, it's next Friday.
Oh, that's
not
right.
Not to spoil anything, guys. Not to give away next week's tapings or anything, but
forward
to your,
they basically gave the whole
Viking
card
battle next week.
Yeah. Falls Count Anywhere because it's they said I think Ricochet's having a match with Corbin again or something.
Oh, fickle.
Yeah, because they listed like 4 or 5 matches that are going to be happening next week, and I'm like, oh, okay. So we're obviously having a tape show because y'all are giving us all the matches that are going to be happening next week.
Yeah, it's already been taped.
Yeah,
I know what happens.
Which makes sense. I mean, it's the day before you have a pay-per-view in Europe. You're not going to try to run a show, and so Yeah.
So I will see there's no rematches on next week's card.
There are no rematches.
There's let me just check. Well, there's technically one, but most of them are fresh matches or matches that have just been. They've spread out all these matches from this week and next quite nicely.
Okay.
There's some matches I'm like, I could probably watch.
All right. Well, hey, so let's go ahead and get the card out of the way because it's a tape show for next week.
Okay. So I won't tell you what happens, but Karrion Kross versus Drew Gulak.
Okay.
Hit Row versus Maximum Male Models is a match that's happening. Butch versus Ludwig Kaiser. And then the Viking Raiders versus the New Day in a Viking rules match.
Right. Falls Count Anywhere is what they said.
I imagine so, yeah.
Yeah.
There is a return next week, but I'm not going to tell you who it is.
Okay.
Unless you know who it is.
I don't.
No, that's your job next week. You can talk about that stuff. I don't care.
Yeah, you're
I'm not going to be
holiday. Fucking holiday. So, speaking of fucking holiday, so seriously, if I can't get the vet, we'll put the word out. If you want to be on the show, talking with me, being here, riding shotgun with me, let me know.
Getting me sacked.
Yeah. You can find me at JReezyMin on Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Message me. Let me know you want to be on the chat. Hey, hell, we could do multiple people on the show. So we could have Canada Spaceman, Elizabeth, and Lab Rat all at the same time. That would be fun. Have
cool.
a roundtable.
A live listener base on this thing already, so we don't listen to it.
A chat roundtable, where we're here live.
The fans edition.
Yeah, why not? We do that every now and then. Or if James gives me the whatchamacallit, the emails, we can do some emails.
I should really just give you the access to the account. It'd be easier.
Yeah. So that way we could do that next week because it's a recorded show. And that was going to be my question: is do I wait till Sunday and do a Cardiff Smackdown? Well, immediate M5.
That means you get to do the Castle of the Castle 2022 review.
Yeah,
I'm going to be part of it.
Yeah. Well, that's who was up on the chat right at the moment when I could see Media M5. So that's why I said those names. I can't remember who all is in the fucking chat. I mean, I'm 43 years old and I have a life. My brain doesn't work very well. And I played fucking American football, so my brain is scrambled eggs half the time anyway. Anyway, so that's that. Or if we get the vet on, then screw you guys. We're not having you on the show.
Way to treat your audience with respect there, John.
Yeah. Hey, no,
I love you guys.
I love you too. What this past week was Hameen's birthday, and so I think I wished him happy birthday on Facebook or whatever, and then somebody put like through the Hameen media group or somewhere else, I forget. They wish Ben Hameen happy birthday. I said, I already did it once. He doesn't fucking need another one. And I said, heal John, heals over strong, like something like that. So it was like
I didn't even do it. I've gone out of the habit of doing it. Like I used to be really good for it. Whenever someone's birthday popped up, I'd be like, "Happy birthday!" I mean, wanted to try and get my first one in there on Facebook. Over time, I just kind of stopped it. I'm like,
I do it, but
it's not even like a conscious thing. It's just like, someone's birthday. Okay, someone's birthday. I'll write a message at some point, and I just don't do it.
Yeah, I do it for people that like maybe I've had contact with or conversation with. But like if it's certain people, like there's just some people like, no, I don't do it. I haven't talked to them in 5 years. So not that there's anything wrong. It's just we're just not like we used to be connected. Whereas other people, I'm like, hey, happy birthday, man, what's going on?
Yeah.
So that's how I operate it as. It's not like every day I'm going, oh, whose birthday is it gonna be today? So I'm kind of it's kind of one of those things where that's how I know when people's birthdays are anymore. Some of my best friends, like when my best friend Cassie, I forgot her birthday was at the beginning of August, and it popped up. And I was like, oh, thank God. I remembered her birthday was at the beginning. I was like, okay, cool. And it was a Friday, so I worked out. I was like, hey, I know you're doing stuff with your boyfriend. You want to do brunch on Sunday? And not saying that I completely forgot that it was her birthday.
Smooth.
But, yeah. And she's like, oh, yeah, because Sean and I are doing this tonight and tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, cool. And we'll have brunch on Sunday. She's like, okay, great. I love brunch. And so we went to a place over by her house, and I got her a couple cards, and I got her a gift card for Chick-fil-A because since she's a school nurse and sometimes she goes out for lunch, that she can go grab a lunch for herself or whatever. So, that's kind of, how that all worked. So thank you to Facebook. So like today, I could tell you the people I know. Bam Bam Malone, a local wrestler here in the DFW area. His birthday is today. And Greg, I can't ever pronounce his last name because it's like Dutch or whatever, who takes lots of pictures for wrestlers. And it's a very cool dude. It's his birthday today. Those are my friends who have birthdays today. So
nice. Happy birthday to those guys.
Yeah. So,
one of them Smack Attack.
Yeah, from the one of those who they probably never listen to this show anyway. Considering we're behind a paywall and,
oh my God, dude. They just said happy birthday to you in the Smack Attack. On the what?
On the what?
Okay.
Woo. They'll be back. So, all right. So, James, let's be honest. We haven't done this in a while. Like, we've been, about a month now since Triple H is taking over?
Yep.
Right? A month? How would you say we are progressing since Triple H is taking over in this?
It feels like a totally different product now, doesn't it?
Mm.
It feels a lot more substantial. You're getting rewarded for your viewing. It's not as slapdash. Everything seems thought out with a plan. Everyone's looking good. Even like the not so great stuff, you can't really fault them too much. Like, I'm not saying it's perfect. Nothing's perfect on this earth, but you can see the growth. I think that's the word. That's the word I'm wanting to use, is growth. It doesn't have to be the most spectacular show ever right away. What we're looking for and what we're getting is just substantial growth, developing. We're seeing characters come in, new faces, people that we've not seen for a while come back and looking really good. Matches making sense. Matches having a proper reason for happening. Everything's got a little bit of something to it. And I don't feel like I've wasted my time watching shows now. And I feel like that's such a big improvement that we can't really ignore.
Right.
I think if you're someone who watches this and genuinely believes that the product was much better a month ago, than it is to now, then you're out of your mind. You're completely off your head. Like the improvements are massive. And we're only a month away. Like this could be the peak point. You know what I mean? Like we could get to Clash of the Castle next week and it could all come tumbling down. But for where we are now, the future looks promising. And it's all we can really ask for, isn't it? How about yourself?
Yeah.
What do you think? What are you seeing from this?
I agree. Like what I feel like it feels like shackles have been removed.
Yeah.
Like it feels like things are a lot freer. I can't necessarily say that we're having matches that make sense all the time. We're not having we are having payoffs, that make sense. We are having matches. There's still some kind of like every now and then, like, do we really need another Happy Corbin Ricochet match tonight? I mean, really, there's other things. It's like, did we really need this or that? But for the most part, it's in the performances themselves and the people on the mic. They feel freer. Like, the fact that we're saying wrestling and belts and, this and that. And like there's, take it to the hospital. There's none of this weird phrasing or forced kind of commentary or things that have to be said. And like, unfortunately, I mean, now you could tell the big difference between promos of people who can do it without a script and those who need a script.
Yeah.
I mean, Natalya and Sonya, that was obviously very scripted. They needed that.
Very.
Karrion Kross did not need shit for his promo. I loved it. I love Karrion Kross. I love his promos. I love how, he's been handling this return. And I think it's great because he's in the same boat. It's great that you got this whole thing, of redemption. And I mean, and then he just, but that all ends if I put my hand to the back of your skull. I mean, like, oh shit, that was good. And I mean, we're getting some of these things from people that you're seeing the level of, okay, that person needs to be a ring person, and then this person needs to be a promo person. And I mean, I think it was even evident with the Maximum Male Models thing. Dude, I'm sorry. Even though Eli Drake is making chicken salad out of chicken shit, he needs to be Eli Drake. He needs to be that guy. I'm glad they made him drop the stupid kind of whatever kind of, accent, and he's more of his own voice.
But no, I think he still does that. But it's the whole, like,
he's lessened it. It's lessened than what it was.
No, but I think that's what's good though, is like that's the veil coming down. So when he's like, that's like the stuff you don't see on the stage or on the camera. Like a lot of the things he's dropping that's when he's like, that's like, stop this, stop the tape, stop this. No. He's like,
but it's not as pronounced
when the cameras
as
are
it
off.
was.
That's what you're supposed to see. That's what he's like when the cameras off. And then when he comes on into the ring, that's his sort of like.
But even when he came out in the ring, it was not as pronounced as it was the very first time he was out there. Because he was very, we're here at Maximum Male Models. I mean, it was very kind of, and he's less flamboyant. He's less whatever. I mean, there's still a hint of it. I'm not saying it's not gone. There's a hint of it, but he's closer to who he normally is in real life as Eli Drake or Sean Rooker, whatever his name is. LA Knight kind of thing. And I mean, I just happened to catch a clip this week of back when they were doing War Games when it was him, Gargano, Ciampa, and who was the other? Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
Pete Dunne. And they like the promo he cut on that because they had lost the advantage for War Games. Holy shit. It was such a good promo. I mean, pumping everybody up and saying, we don't even have to earn your respect because we're going to beat the respect out of you because this is a Johnny Wrestling. This is former NXT UK champion. This is the 2-time NXT World Championship. And so it was good. And I will have to speak on this. The segment itself, I found it weird that the Street Profits were there. Yeah. I mean, I know they had the whole Hit Row Street Profits, hey, what's up, kind of thing. They have at the beginning of the show, and then the whole Los Lotharios helping spray paint the bus, and it's the Street Profits, and I'm going, What? I don't like. It felt that was a segment that I felt was very all over the place. Like just kind of what are we
it didn't
doing?
really have any rhyme or reason. Keep it simple. Just
Yeah,
keep it simple. You know,
I
just
know. I know you're
hit
trying to build
row,
this.
maximum male models.
I know you're trying to
That's
build
it.
that heat. They're trying to build that heat between the two, but throwing the Street Profits in, what did that do? Like,
Yeah.
it just granted, make maximum male models look and Los Lotharios look stupid, but it didn't do anything for the thing. I don't know. To me, it's just
yeah, it was kind of a bit of a meh.
That
was
thing. Again, we're getting to that point where there are just some things where it's like,
they need to wrestle. They just need to wrestle now. Like we get it. We get who they are. We get what they're about. We've got a feud now. Just fucking wrestle.
Yeah.
Give me something. Like,
and thankfully, we're getting that next week on a tape. It's a tape show, so hopefully they'll make it look good.
Yeah. Like that's what I'm hoping for. Is just give me like because the whole thing about this is supposed to be like models who can be on like the Met Gala runway within 1 week and then WrestleMania the next. Right. We've done all the modeling stuff now. Let's get the in-ring side of it. Let's see if they're legit and then go from there. Let's see how this comes together. But yeah, it was a bit weird.
Yeah. And I mean, and the question is, Maxine Dupree, is she going to be the one who takes over? Like, are they going to drop, Eli Drake? I mean, I can't call him whatever.
I think if they were going to drop him, they would have done it by now.
You think they would have done it by now? Because I feel like it's slowly working that way, which is I don't mind the slow build of getting rid of it because she's like, oh, I'll take care of this.
Well, I actually think it's more the fact that they'll keep him because he can wrestle, so then he can still play this role. But then he's the third man in the tandem.
But why not make him back to who he was? You know what I mean? Like instead of that, I would say have Maxine be a part of Maximum Models with those three. You can go hit row because then you got B-Fab and Maxine who could wrestle each other, and then which I don't know if Maxine wrestles or not. I don't know. Yeah. I haven't seen her before. Some say she came out of NXT or NXT UK or whatever. I don't know. So I don't know if she's a wrestler or what because we haven't seen anything. But my thought process is like, hey, let him go do his thing. Let him be what he makes money at. Is Eli Drake, LA Knight, that whole thing. Let him be that guy. And then in turn, we have the feud where we can have these guys go after each other. And then Hit Row can go after Street Profits, or Maximum Models can go after Street Profits, or, this whole thing. You brought back another tag team. You've built two tag teams now you've strengthened your tag team division for SmackDown. So let's have them go at it. And he can be a single star. We know he's a single star. He's carried belts and titles and looked great doing it. Let's let that guy be what he can be, which is a star carrying a belt, making it, legitimate with his promos and everything that he does. And then we go from there. I feel like there's a slow burn to that because like tonight, Maxine, I'll take care of it. Oh, look, this is what I've done. This, it's more of Max is kind of not getting the business done right. She's at least doing something. It's going to be that turn at some point where they turn on him for Maxine because Maxine's kind of undercut him every step of the way, kind of thing, So that's where I can see it going. Where I feel like they're laying the groundwork with this stuff. From the last few segments they've had with all of them there, I feel like she's the one kind of undercutting everything, and he's going to be kicked out, and then it's just going to be them three, which I'm okay with. And maybe she has the Los Lotharios, and they have a whole thing. I don't know, because she's kind of shown interest in them too. Maybe she manages both of them under that genre, But that's my thought process on the writing of this. But again, it's kind of one of those up in the air things. We have Clash of the Castle next week. It could all be wiped away. And then supposed rumor of a draft, who knows? I mean, I
know what's happening with that. Is that still going on, or are they just killing? Because there was a story that came out apparently that the draft might not be happening now.
Yeah, I don't know.
A weird rumor with that.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows what's going on? Because I thought I saw that the draft had been postponed, or that they weren't going to do it after Cardiff. But I don't know, man. I mean, let's put it this way: you can't trust wrestling news, as far as you can throw it. So it's just definitely
unless they're going to do like that's the other thing. I wish they did like a night after WrestleMania Raw in the UK. Not like actual, but I mean like for Clash at the Castle. Like I wish they did something like that for this, where they did it in London or Glasgow or Newcastle, one of the three.
Like a mini European tour type thing.
Yeah, and then so that'd be like your Raw after the event, and then you could do like a big whole thing with it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they're missing an opportunity with that. But I'm not WWE, I'm not in charge
of
things. But
it would have to be a recorded show because you have to honor the time. You have to honor the time frame of the American audience is where your bread and butter is.
Fine. I always stand firm that there's always potential where they could just do a live Raw one time, but they won't never do.
But what time? So if it starts 7 here, that'd be what time your way?
That would yeah. I suppose no. Well, actually, no. That's not what I was going to say. I feel like the argument was for the case where they could do live Raw here, so they broadcast it live in the UK as they do it, and then they still show it in America as once in its regular time. And I remember getting an argument with Jimmy Corderas on Twitter about this, of all people. And I was like, how can you not see this? It's like, it doesn't, like, it's recorded anyway, right? So whatever happens, America's going to get this at 7 o'clock your time every week. The UK, we have to watch this, if we want to watch it live, 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. And we're just one night where if you're filming this in the UK, give us 7 till 10. Let us watch it live. Throw us a bone, and then you can still watch your filmed one. Because the results will have come out before the show, probably. But at the same time, it's recorded anyway. You would have got the results before the show would happen anyway.
True.
So what would be the difference?
True. I mean, I don't see a problem in that. The question is, would USA allow that? That you have to put this is a recorded show on the thing. It's not live for a primetime show in America.
But that's what means that you're going to do that anyway.
You've paid for you've paid for a primetime show. I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at.
But you know that it's already going to be filmed and structured to fit USA anyway. It's like no matter what was going to happen, they're getting a recorded show that night.
Yeah. Which I mean, I'm not arguing against it. I'm just trying to look at it from the standpoint of USA who's paid for the show. Is that why we see like Cardiff and it's on a Saturday? We have a Sunday buffer for Monday because they're going to do a live show in America somewhere to fulfill that time slot. Because I'm pretty sure WWE has so many live shows they have to do on USA as a requirement, or NBC Universal as a requirement of their contract. You know what I mean? Like that was something that I remember Bruce Pritchard talking about in something to wrestle with. Is that back when they had the dog shows that preempted them or things like that, that would be considered, if they recorded a show for that would be considered part of their recorded shows that would go on to USA, and they had a certain number of them that they could do. So that's kind of where I think, I don't know if that's still the case with the structure of the TV deal. Maybe USA no, I want y'all live, and we don't want recorded shows. And so, maybe that's why we're seeing that with this. Because where is Raw next week?
It's definitely America, but I don't know exactly where.
Raw. So that's gonna be what, September?
No, are we August the 29th?
Well, no, because Cardiff is
September the 3rd.
I'm talking about that Raw after.
Oh, that'll be the 5th. Yeah, that'll be the 5th of September.
September 5th, 2022. Let's see. I don't know. It's not going to be in Dallas. There's no way it's going to be in Dallas. Why? Ugh. Why is it not giving me? Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so let's see. So yeah, September 5th, Kansas City, Missouri. So they're going. So Monday Night Raw this week will be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on the 29th. So then they'll fly over after that, and then have Clash come back and be in Kansas City, Missouri on that Monday the 5th.
Man, that's gonna be a trek. That's a Saurian. So that's gonna be like as soon as they kind of come in. So pretty much when Raw finishes this week, they're off to Cardiff. They're off to the UK.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the Cardiff show finishes, they're on the flight to Kansas. Shit.
Yeah.
That's a sore shift for everyone that week.
Yeah.
Man. It'll be fun though. It'll be interesting to see what they do. But yeah, one time I hope they do that. If they do ever come back with this sort of pay-per-view, that they do a Raw after the fact, just for that sort of atmosphere, because there's no atmosphere like it.
Yeah.
At all. Like, I can't wait to hear the atmosphere of what it's going to be like in Cardiff. It's going to be next level. It's like WrestleMania levels of atmosphere, maybe even more so, because like British fans, as you know, just there's something about it, like the energy, the humor, the creativity, the involvement. It's just something out of this world, and to get this in like a 70,000 capacity is just brilliant.
Yeah, I agree.
It'll be fun as anything.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, let's be honest. Let's think about this here for a minute. I mean, they kept Impact going. They've kept, a lot of these other, wrestling companies going. British fans love wrestling. It is I don't want to. It's almost to the level as football is to Texas in America. I mean, there are some rabid wrestling fans who have done things like kept Impact going and kept other places going. Whereas, in all actuality, it's like this should have died a long time ago. But I mean, hell, even in the lean times of 94, 95. For WWE, they did 8 European tours because that's where the money was being made, even though it was down here. That's the way to go. So, all right. So they're talking about food now. Sorry,
weird
the chat. Yeah, talking about Elizabeth pulling out bolognese.
That must be the same for me to get some food now.
Yeah, right. It's noon here, so I was like, oh shit, yeah, that's.
We've had a good chat. We've had a good chat on this episode.
Yeah,
the 2 hour mark.
Yeah,
not too bad
so
at all.
but I mean, I think ultimately in the long run, I think the problem is the time difference is why y'all won't ever get a live Raw or anything along those lines. Is because I feel like the TV companies here have the stranglehold on WWE, and that's what's going to keep it from you guys being able to get something along those lines. So, which is sad. I mean because. Ultimately, fans in the UK, wherever you go, are way better than fans in the United States. You know what I mean? It's I say that in all actuality and honesty is that, look at the G1 and what they had in Dallas. There's 5,000 people there. We made the building feel bigger than it was, but even with everything cartoned off, we still couldn't fill that building. Whereas if you have that same thing in the same size building in Europe, you could have had it in York, and they would have packed that place out.
Oh yeah, be jam packed.
But granted, too, I will give you this: y'all have it a lot easier to get around your country to different places than we do in America. We don't have low cost airfare. We don't have train. We don't have a dependable train system. We don't have public transit that is dependable, especially here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And if you're coming here from any place else in the country, you're flying. And that's $400 minimum, to get here and coach to fly one way,
Yeah.
So, there probably were a lot more fans who wanted to come, but who could afford a ticket and then finding a hotel. And that's, $100 a night, to stay at a place in a hotel here in the DFW area. Unless you go way out of the way, then rental car, $40-$50 a day for a rental car, and then that doesn't account all your food that you're having to eat, which can be between $20 and $30 a meal if you're eating properly. Those are all expenses on top of a ticket that could cost you $300 to $500, depending on where you sit for your highest end. And so, it's a serious thing. It goes, all right, well, if there's a show in my area, I'm going to consider thinking about it, but cost is a big deal for me. I mean, the reason why I'm going to this Impact show tonight, tickets were free. A local wrestling promotion said, hey, who loves Impact? If you want free tickets, message us. And I thought it was a joke. And they're like, okay, you have 2 tickets that we'll call for you and your son with John Enright. I was like, holy shit, thank you. Like, I was not expecting that. Free tickets to Impact when they're selling the show, they're selling the tickets online, and yet this wrestling promotion says, hey, here's free tickets. So I'm like, okay, I'm not having to pay $50 a ticket for me and my son. It's free, so it's just my gas over and whatever we're going to do for food. So that makes it to where I'm going to go,
Yeah.
So, I think that's the bigger issue is how do you get people from across the United States to one place for a wrestling show? That's why you have WrestleMania. That's why you have those kind of things for that reason.
It in advance.
Yeah, where it's coming. Los Angeles next year is going to have WrestleMania, so you can start, doing that. Oh, I'm going to cheer. I'm going to be crazy. I'm going to be. If you've never seen me at a wrestling show, it's a whole nother level. I am.
Reads books.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Newspaper, sir. That was a newspaper. So if we're gonna do it right, it's a newspaper. So that's that. But yeah, I have all kinds of bits that I do when I go to wrestling shows. But I guess the point is that you guys, I don't know what the cost for a ticket for Cardiff was. Even low grade, for you guys over there. But
I think it was probably in the £50 region.
Okay,
I'm surprised by that,
which is not terrible. Which we read the first pay-per-view back here in Fort Worth. That was not the cost here. It was $200 and something for nosebleed. And so and then you top off the fact that you guys have cheap travel over there. Your travel is, even if you wanted to fly, you have low cost carriers to where if you wanted to fly from where you are, James, in Scotland to Cardiff, what would that cost you ideally? If you want to go cheapest route possible.
You'd have to plan it. Flights from. I don't think you can fly to Cardiff
or wherever the closest thing would be.
Have a look here. Cheap flights from. Let's have a look here. I think the closest you could probably get. You're probably easier getting the train. You're probably because that'd be just short of. That's just over £100 or so
for the train.
We'll just say let's do a return to Cardiff. There's an airport in Cardiff. Well, how the fuck do you do? Right. So next Saturday, 3rd, say return on the 4th. Search flights and economy. Oh yeah, definitely. You're definitely taking a train. A flight just now. I just checked to fly down for Clash at the Castle. You'd be £651 to fly down.
Shit.
Yeah, expensive. It's not even that far, but it's expensive. But if you booked it well enough ahead, you could probably book it. But then I think because it's more expensive, because it's going to Cardiff, I'm pretty sure that goes. Yes, this one's flying to Belfast, then Cardiff. So there's quite a lot of there's not many direct ones that they're doing, but they are quite expensive. But then again, that's a week out from the event itself.
And what would be the biggest city that you would fly into that would be reasonable? Yeah.
So what do you mean to?
So if I was gonna, so if I needed to go to, let's say, El Paso, right? I wouldn't fly. If I want to be cheap about it, I would go Pittsburgh to Dallas, not Pittsburgh to El Paso, because that's going to add 500, which is weird because in in Europe, I know this is different because I saw a thing yesterday. A guy flew from if he had gone Frankfurt to South America to Johannesburg, it'd have been $6,500. But because he went a smaller city in Sweden to Frankfurt to Johannesburg, it only cost him $1,700, and flying first class. And that was just the thing. But here in the United States, if you go big city to big city, it's cheaper than going big city to big city to little city, or little city to big city kind of thing. And so, and sometimes it's even cheap. It's even more expensive to go big city to little city. So
to get a train
okay,
from Edinburgh, which is near where I live,
okay,
to Cardiff is £172.
Okay, and that's how long of a train ride?
Yeah, so that's about 2 hours.
2 hours to ride train?
No, tell a lie. 4 hours. 6 hours.
4 hours.
6 hours. It's a 6 hour journey. 6 hours.
6 hours to go from Edinburgh to Cardiff.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah, 6 hours.
Because
6 hour train journey. With a stop in the middle.
If you fly, that's what, 2 hours flying?
Yeah.
But you got to factor in your time getting to the airport and all that, and then your time getting out of the airport.
Yeah, you got to go through like security and all that stuff, and you've got to be early for your flight and all that. It's more of a hassle. Whereas like if you go to the train station through the barriers on the train, off you go.
Right.
Then you're fine.
Right.
Don't worry about that way. So
yeah. So I mean, heck. So but y'all have that option. Here in the United States, we don't have that.
Yeah.
There isn't, a nationalized infrastructure for that. You guys do, and your country utilizes that a lot. Commuter trains and long haul trains and things along those lines.
I wonder how much is for a bus. You know what? You've got me thinking now.
I
wonder if I can get a National Express from. National Express would be a shout, actually.
You don't want to take a bus in the United States. Greyhound is the shit.
Oh
no.
Barely want to take a bus in the UK, but let's have a look here. Coaches to Cardiff. Let's have a look. National Express. Pretty sure I got quite cheap from York when I done it. So, to Cardiff. Shit, Cardiff Castle. Oh, you can actually get one to the Principality Stadium. Well, here we fucking go.
Oh, hey, hello.
So I'll tell you what, we'll leave on the day before. We'll leave on the Friday. 9 in the morning. Add a return just for reasonable sake. Leave on the Sunday after 9. Find my journey. Watch this. No trains or no buses. Okay, so I'm not getting one on the. Let's get rid of the. Can I get rid of the return? Yeah, single. See if I can find a single journey. Oh wow, there's no buses. Never mind.
Oh.
Buses didn't happen. But
Bummer.
National Express is another good thing, although it's a bit of a trek. Like I know when we were driving down to Southend-on-Sea, we kind of go past Birmingham, which is kind of a wee out of the way from Cardiff, but that's still like 8 hours of driving at least. So it's probably about that to get down to. Excuse me. It's kind of to get to Cardiff. It's probably 8-9 hour drive.
Gotcha.
Bit of a trek, but. I will not say such things about Welsh people, Canada Spaceman. I've got Welsh people in my family.
Ooh.
Dare you. Back after them. Also, that's how you speak about Aberdeenshire folk, but you didn't hear that from me. Have we got anything else we need to cover before we call this a day, though?
No, I think we've covered a lot. Especially the prep for next week for Cardiff. I think it's a. I think like you and I are in agreement that we're seeing some positive things. We're seeing some things, but I think really the test is going to be, after Cardiff. We said that about SummerSlam, but like in all actuality, Triple H hadn't been involved very long. We need to give him more time. So I feel like Cardiff is going to be, for lack of a better phrase, the breaking point to see where this thing is going.
This is the true acid test of Triple H's reign right now.
Yeah,
his first month. Like, could you imagine if Vince was still in charge by this point? This card's not happening.
Mm-mm.
Like, the card we've got coming into next week isn't a card that's happening. Like, we're not getting Gunther and Sheamus. We're not getting, I don't know, what other matches. Riddle and Rollins will have already been done. the IC title match, the US title match. Maybe we're going to get Theory and Gargano. Maybe a lot of this would not be how it is now.
Right.
We would have been missing quite a fair bit of this. So fair play to them to give us like a really good card. So if it goes well, then here we go. We're on for the ride all the way to however long this takes. Be the place to be for that. Yeah.
It's definitely one of the more unique cards they've had in a long time.
Yeah.
To where you're like, okay, I kind of want to see how this turns out. You know, I mean, even SummerSlam, I was like, like this, I don't know why, but this seems like a better card on paper. Where I'm interested in seeing how it turns out. Yeah.
This is where we'll get the trajectory of what the next like 6 months is going to be.
Right.
And it looks more likely than not it's going to be a positive outcome of like we'll see this and we'll see the kind of forest for the trees. And like, okay, we might have a bit of this, bit of this, bit of this. There's a lot to look forward to, and I'm good with that.
I agree, sir.
Yeah. Speaking of things to look forward to, you can look forward to the total carnage that's going to happen on this podcast when I'm not here, and that will be. I don't know what's going to happen. I genuinely don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the plan is. I'll just put it all in John's lap and say, you do it. You're on your own. And then I'm going to try and post it from wherever I am. That's my only job. If I remember to do so, I'm really sorry for whoever posted the pod on Channel Attitude. I don't know who done it. I'm really sorry. I should have done it, but I never. But I'll do it today. Or if not, I'll be on Sunday. Don't worry. I will remember this time. I've just had a busy time and all other stuff going on. But if you want to get in touch with the Smack Attack, if you want to get yourself involved and maybe appear on the show with John, there's plenty of ways of let us know about that there. You can tweet us at SmackAttackHMG. You can email us directly, smackattackhammymedia@gmail.com. Maybe you follow at Jay Reeseman on Twitter and ask him right in the face. Elizabeth, do you really care what happens when you go? Listen, it's like any job. No.
No.
Basically, if anything happens or anything goes tits, I've already put it out there. It's going on today with me.
Yeah.
He's
already put me under the bus. So
that's John's problem to fix, not mine. I'm not coming back. It's like, when you go to work and then shit happens, you come back 2 weeks later and they ask you to fix it. It's like, no, fuck you. I'm not fixing your problem. That was when I was on holiday. I wasn't here. I'm not bailing you out.
Yeah. Exactly.
For this, it'll probably be a bit different, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure you'll be fine. You'll manage all right.
Yeah. I mean, I have to deal with Triple D half the time on the Academy podcast.
Yeah.
Which can be found on Hammy Media Group podcasting on Spotify or wherever you get your so I'm pretty sure I can handle anybody if I can handle Triple D. So yeah.
Is that not weird that you're managing someone who manages donut stores?
Yeah, I know, right? This is like basically like the CEO of his family company. I have to be like, bro, calm down, let's go. All right. But I'm not necessarily the best at it because sometimes I'll feed stories into him to make him go, I can't fucking believe that bullshit. And sometimes I don't intend to. Like, I just read a story and then he goes off and I'm like, oh shit, apparently that was the trigger point for today. You never
set
know.
him right off.
Yeah. Sometimes you just never know with him. It's just like, all right, apparently that triggered him. Okay, good to know. It's fun though. So if I can handle that, I can handle you guys. Y'all are a lot of fun. So yeah, message me, see what's going on. If I can't get the vet, we might go that route. So we'll see.
The world Pandora's box opens if a vet can't make it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, I might see if anybody will want to do a Sunday show to cover Cardiff and do a review on it and go that route if I can't get the vet on Saturday.
Watch this, right? You'll put it out there like, oh, guys, who wants to do a review? And Ben will be on this. Russo will be on this. Or I don't fucking know. Like, I
got the pull, bitch!
Maybe you get the beautiful people on here. I don't fucking know. And I'll be sitting there going,
April Hunter.
Bastard. I've been asking these people, well, not really asked like the Russos and beautiful peoples of this place, but I've put the feelers out there before and dinged. That'd be my luck. That'd be my luck on the weeks that I'm off. That's happening. But there's only one way you can really find out about that, and that's if you follow Channel Attitude, www.com, channelattitude.com/Hammy Media Group. That's where you get all the content that you can listen to. This disappears from YouTube. If you're watching this live on YouTube right now, you'll know yourself. This disappears pretty much as soon as this is over, or it should anyway. So the only place you can listen to this is channelattitude.com. You'll get episodes of the locker rooms, the Monday and Friday locker rooms, Impact Attack, the Smack Attack, the NXT level podcast, Light the Fuse, and so much more great content that only Hammy Media Group provides. So please, for the price of 2 cups of coffee, apparently, I thought it was 1, but 2 cups of coffee. Come on, you don't need that much caffeine in your life. Just fork it up, get some of the best wrestling content around, only on Hammy Media Group. And on that note, if you want to find out more of how this car crash of a show goes in the next 2 weeks, there's only one place to find out, and that's by watching John and whoever he's got on here next week on another edition of the Smack Attack. Cheery!